Good morning, Chris.
Good morning. How are you doing, Mike?
I am good. How are you?
Doing great.
Up? I'm gonna,
Yeah.
We are. We measured.
We'll take 6 feet
We're
away
6 feet apart.
from each other. So
We are safe. So, episode 2.
yeah.
Postulation.
Postulation. I can't believe we're to a second episode. I thought we'd be canceled by now.
Yeah.
So,
well, we got letters, but we don't. Who cares, right?
we don't know how to read.
They don't have authority here.
That's right.
All right. Well, I'm Mike Higdon. I'm actually. See, I want them to understand that I am like the sidekick.
You're the sidekick.
The hoodie.
The hoodie. All right.
And the well-dressed man is.
I'm Chris Gustafson, pastor at Eastern Heights.
So hopefully today I've got a couple questions for you. I don't know if we've received any, but we've also been out of church, I guess, for the last couple weeks.
Took 2 weeks off due to some outbreaks to make sure we kept everybody safe.
Yeah.
So folks are doing well.
Good.
Well, so that's a lot of answered prayer there.
All right, so we're going to hit our little introduction, and then we will get started with the questions.
Great.
All right. All right, we're back.
All right.
Working on trying to figure out all of our electronics. But we've got it. We're good.
Yeah, we good? Okay.
We'll get
All right.
better as they go on. If they let us keep going, we will get better. So, is there obviously there's some things, I guess. So we are going back to, this isn't all about Eastern Heights Baptist Church, but we are going back.
Yeah, we are back to regular services this Sunday. But we're really blessed, and Mike, you've been a big part of this, is being able to go online and be able to practice some safety for individuals. So when things happen, we were able to scale back on in person, but still didn't miss doing worship at all. And so we had all our worship services available for everyone to get involved in that and to participate. But it will be good to be able to open up and allow folks. But we're encouraging, again, reminding people, if you don't feel safe, or if you're not comfortable yet, there's no prize for showing up. We're not giving away a prize that you came. If you're not feeling well, stay home. You can catch us online, but we want folks to feel comfortable in being able to come into worship. So
Yes, and our seating and stuff is set up as such that it's very safe.
So
we have lots of room.
It's an interesting look when you're preaching, trying to find everybody. They're all spread out. So.
Well, you know where to look, the back row.
Yeah, I guess if you really want to stay safe, sit towards the front.
Right. Exactly. All right, so this is, I believe it still is, Pastor Appreciation Month.
Yeah, that's what they told me.
Month of October.
Yeah.
So for one, I want to say thank you I know I speak for my family, but definitely I could probably speak for every family in this church. But thank you very much for what you do, and I know we love you and your family very, very much.
I appreciate it. I'm incredibly blessed. I get to do every day what I love to do. So it's an awesome job, and the families here are terrific and been incredibly supportive. So it's been a great life. So
awesome.
No complaints. No complaints.
And they let you hang around for almost 20 years?
Yeah, they have. Now, people go, why have you been there for so long? And I say, well, I'm too lazy to get a new job, and they're too lazy to fire me. So it works out well. So.
Awesome. So one of the questions, and I've always been curious about this, and someone actually asked this, but just curious about things that, I know you go through, like a lot of times, unfortunately, you get when somebody's going through issues. I mean, obviously you get to see a lot of good times, weddings and
Yeah.
births and things like that, but a lot of times it's hospital visits and funerals, and people are obviously in need of prayer and counseling with you. So I'm just curious what you do. I mean, obviously I know obviously you read the scriptures. I hope you do. I know you do. But what do you do personally to keep yourself, to fill your cup, I guess is my question.
Yeah, so that's a really good question. And I wish I could tell you like I have this perfect system that I follow. Like most people, there are times that I am just really on a mountaintop, and there are times that I'm really down in the valley. Staying faithful, reading the scriptures, it's sometimes hard to do, and you're wanting to read the Bible, and sometimes you don't. One of the things I've kind of realized is I'm human, like everybody. So when I go through funerals, times of loss, I've come to learn that I also need to step back and emotionally allow myself to process that, because I often connect I'm doing funerals with people I love and I care about. So I'm also in that process of mourning a loss. So I find time to step back on my own and just say it's okay for me to be sad. It's okay for me to be depressed. I used to always think, I have to get that positive image the whole time, and it's okay later for me. My marriage is very important to me, being able to go and talk to Sheila. I don't want to always be like on her with everything that's wrong. But it is good to be able to have that relationship, and her with having a ministry background, being able to sometimes help me see things that I'm not always seeing the right way. I sometimes talk about talking me off the ledge. And so I think that is an important part. And then I also make sure that I keep listening and reading other pastors out there and getting insights from them on their lives. And so I have to be pastor. And I was going to say, one other thing I do is I'm in a Bible study, and so that is my Sunday school, and I go to it as a participant. I have my homework to do. I show up in the class. I participate, but I cannot lead. Can't be a leader. I'm not a teacher. I wouldn't be a teacher in it. And so I make sure that I'm doing exactly what I hope everybody else is doing, and so imitating that.
So that is a little bit different, I guess, for you, but that's probably that's probably all.
Oh, it's great. I mean, I really appreciate it. It's a great group of guys that I meet with, and we just we have a teacher, we have a Sunday school lesson, and as a pastor, you tell people you should be doing this, but you should be doing it also.
Right.
And so that is my avenue to continue to do that and be a part of it.
So, well, cool. I know that's just always. I know, just like everybody assumes because you're the pastor of the church that you don't struggle finding time. Even I know you have to obviously prepare for your sermons, but that's actually work. I mean, it's obviously it's a blessing, it's a gift, but it's work, and it's not really like just quiet time because you're focused on making sure you're prepared for the sermon.
Yeah, sermon time is not devotional time.
Separate.
And so often my devotional reading time will be something other than what I'm preaching on. Okay. I try to make sure I separate those, so I'm not trying to turn everything into a sermon all the time.
I like that. So you can't count. You can't say, well, I've worked on my sermon, so I've got in my spiritual time.
Oh, I'm not saying I don't do that. You shouldn't do that, but I do that. Yeah, there's times I'll say, God, you and I are good, and I'm going to go to bed. So.
All right, I'm going to ask you to break out your phone.
Okay.
Only because I guess I can't see it on here. So if anybody does have a question, I won't be able to see it because the comments are not loaded into.
All right.
Are loading on here. So.
Okay, so I got the phone out there for you. So if anyone pops in, if you have a question, you can put that into the comment section and put that there, and we will try to respond to that question. So if they have it. So.
And we can say good morning to Barbara Smith and Betty.
Yeah, that's my mother-in-law.
Yeah.
So, hi Barb.
Hi Barb.
So.
All right, so this next one, this is kind of a tough one, and I guess you have to be careful when you ask, like, what types of questions, and when you're in a group of Christians and non-Christians, what are some questions that you would have? And I actually got a really good one yesterday at work, and it actually comes from a person that is a Christian, that accepted Christ, but her question was, because she understands the grace and what she's been given as far as her salvation and accepting Christ. And I guess the only way I can ask it so that it makes sense is exactly how it was asked. But so knowing that the worst person in the world could accept Christ, just like on thief on the cross, I think about in the parable of the people, the vineyard where they're getting paid, some get paid work 10 minutes. And so you can go more into that. So, but the question was like, what's the motivation as a Christian, knowing that even the worst, to be good, to do the right thing?
Okay.
So that's a little weird, but it's like, I had to ask it several times and try to make sure I understood it right, but it was basically, obviously I want to live a good life and do the best I can, but knowing that even, I guess I'm going to say Hitler, but the worst person at the last minute could accept Christ on their deathbed will receive the same grace that I do. And a lot of Christians have trouble with that when they know people. It's mainly Christians that have trouble with that.
Yeah.
And I think people that aren't Christians have trouble accepting Christ because they don't understand that.
So that's kind of a multi-level question that comes into play. One thing I think is we need to understand that our salvation not only promises us an eternal life, but it also promises us life now. There was a theologian, C.H. Dodd was his name, who had a quote. He said, "I would believe in Jesus even if there wasn't a heaven." And the point was, he knew that there was a heaven, but life committed to Jesus Christ is a far more wonderful life to be lived than a life without Jesus Christ. And so even though we kind of will say, well, at the last minute, Hitler makes that confession, we got to look back and realize that this life that we've had with Jesus Christ has been an absolutely wonderful and incredible life that has been going on for us and being at work. We also need to remember that there is a judgment, and we often think we're going to come out of that judgment better. So he's like, well, I'm going to come out looking good, and Hitler's really going to get slammed. But there's going to be a judgment too on that, and where God speaks to us. And I can only imagine standing in the presence of a holy God. So I would not want to be in Hitler's place, but I'm not sure necessarily I want to be in my place either, because I know my own sin nature that goes into that. And then overall, what is the motivation to be good? If I'm saved, why should I be good? Paul talks about that people were using that argument, saying, listen, where sins abounds, grace abounds greater. So why not just sin more and get more grace, was kind of their thinking. And he, in very strong terms, says by no means. The Greek that he uses for that is even stronger. I guess one of the ways I kind of describe this is a parent-child relationship. And if you grow up in an environment in which your parents love you and they sacrificially give to you and they provide for you, then you are motivated to want to live a life that pleases them. And that motivation moves into itself that you might often hear people say, I don't want to disappoint my parents. I want them to be happy because of all that they did. If you grow up in another environment in which your parents are constantly cruel and mean to you and say, these are the rules you're going to have to follow, you kind of fight against that because you see the cruelty of it and you see the rules they're putting on you, they're not following themselves. And so you're not motivated to good. So the person who's most likely going to do good is the one who is loved and experiences grace and mercy from their parents. They then want to reflect that in an act of obedience because they don't want to disappoint God. So I think that same thing's true in our Christian life. So the more we understand grace and forgiveness, instead of having an attitude of, well, anyone who believes in Jesus Christ gets it, that's not fair. Right. The more we experience that, the more we find out what a wonderful life we're living, the more we want to live lives that please God and hear him say, well done, good and faithful servant.
Yeah, and I think that's the first question, the first thing that came to my mind, but I did not want to answer it because I want to know your answer first. But was love, and it's just the same. I feel like in our Christian walk and is with our spouses and with our kids, those things, we do those things out of love. I mean, you don't have an affair on your wife, not because necessarily just because it says you're not supposed to, but you do it out of love. And so I think that love is probably the biggest thing there. So
really, and knowing that God loves us just motivates us more to live lives in that relationship, so that the more you discover grace and forgiveness and love, the more you are motivated to live a life that honors Him, not out of drudgery,
Right.
but out of this just sense of appreciation.
I actually do have a question, so
Yeah.
hopefully you can answer this. But David Rawson wants to know how he can become a hipster pastor like this.
David Ralston is an awesome pastor, and he has got a great church. He's pastored a number of churches, but he started a church plant a few years ago and has done some wonderful work where he's at. But he is a far more hipster pastor than I will ever be. So yeah, he pulls off the skinny jeans much better than I could ever pull them off. So, but yeah, thanks, David.
You have skinny jeans?
I don't have any skinny jeans, but I would not attempt that.
All right, so Angie's watching. Good morning. Hey, she's up. She's watching.
Hey, good morning, Angie.
All right, so I'm trying now. Let's just, if there's any other questions, I don't have any other than how you can be a hipster right now. Obviously, that one was several different layers of questions, so
Yeah.
that put us a little bit into some time.
You know, just talking about David real quick, when we talk about, I use that term, planting a church, and that kind of a term we use, but what does that mean to non-Christians? So churches, we use that term, planting a church is often churches that are established. We'd say Eastern Heights is an established church, then invest in helping new churches be created. And we like that idea of planting a seed and then watching that church grow. And then hopefully eventually that church itself produces fruit of planting other churches. But during this time of COVID, that for those planting churches, this has been a tough time for them. You know, we were established and in a good place, but some of the planting churches, places they were meeting in, they lost. Locations that they could gather in, being able to communicate with people. So yeah, something to keep in your prayers is those churches and lifting them up. And it's been neat to see a lot of established churches and opening their doors and inviting in planting churches and saying, you can use our facility. Let's share this and help each other through this. So I think it's been a neat time for the church where sometimes we're seen divided. We've been coming together and working together.
Yeah, because a lot of those are held in schools,
Yeah.
and then I know like Brandon, when he was in Orlando, theirs was actually in a movie theater.
Yeah.
Which offered, so like actually I think they had like lots of churches that used different parts of the theater, but those people.
And then
Right now.
all those got shut down and they lost their places for meetings. So it's been neat. I've watched as a number of established churches have opened their doors to bring in other churches and to share this space. It's been a cool experience.
So we want to at least reach out and tell people how they can reach us, and make sure definitely questions. They can definitely message. They can either message you, or we actually just message us on our Facebook page. I guess if you want it to be anonymous, you would have to do that by, if you're a member of the church or you come to church, there's places you can do that, the offering plate, or you can put it in a special, beautiful
Yeah, it'd be a beautiful
bowl.
basketball.
Is that bowl? Basketball? Basketball.
Yeah, and if you really want, just steal your friend's phone and send the question in from them.
From them, hey, that's a good idea right there. I like that.
Surely you know the password to somebody else's account.
So, but definitely, as an invitation to part of this, a big part of what we're doing here is hopefully if you have questions, as a Christian, there's things that sometimes you just don't have enough time on Sunday to answer, or you don't hear the answer, or you hear something that confuses you. That's what we're doing this for, us to help people. But also for people to reach out that haven't accepted Christ, but they feel that little tug on their heart. And that is something I will just throw out there real quick, because we can take a couple of minutes. But a lot of times you hear people say, like, it's like they're waiting for, and I'm glad I didn't do that, because I would still be waiting till I thought I was the right person.
That's the right person.
I was in a good enough place that I was able to accept Christ, or he would accept me. But you do hear a lot of people, like, just, and I just make up things, say they have a gambling addiction, or they went through a rough relationship, and they've got, I mean, there's a lot of reasons people feel like that they're not worthy, or they're just not ready. But when I get ready, I'll be there. I'll come to church when I'm not in a good place right now.
Yeah.
I can't do that. So what would you say to those people?
Well, first of all, in coming to church, if you want to find out information of how to change my life and how to grow in God and to grow and read answers to the Bible and everything, I can't think of a better place to come than church, because that's what we do. That's our main task. Why do you go to the doctor? Because that's the main task. You don't go to the doctor to talk sports. They may talk sports to you, but you're really there for medical advice. We are here to share the scriptures. We're here to worship. I think too, as people come to church, often they are shocked to find out who's at church. And we've got this kind of Norman Rockwell, I don't know if people even know who Norman Rockwell is anymore, but kind of that imagery of church, of everybody being prim and proper. And you get into church and you find out, oh my gosh, these people are screwed up, and yet they're here and I'm screwed up, so I can hang out with them. So it's okay. And that's why I tell people with Eastern Heights a lot of times, I said, I'm going to warn you, you're going to find out that we've got problems, but we're all working on them together towards Christ. And I think as you get into a church, you'll suddenly find out the people in church are just the type of people I need to be hanging out with. And then that understanding of, am I worthy to be saved? No, you're not worthy to be saved. That's why you're being saved. If we could get to a place that is to be right with God, then there was no need for Jesus to have gone and died on the cross. And that would be a terrible tragedy that God would sit there and allow Jesus to die on the cross, and there would be that realization that somehow you can make yourself right. So the realization I'm unworthy and I will never get to the place of being worthy, and I just need to go ahead and accept Jesus Christ, is to realize that his dying on the cross meant something and was important. And when we sit there and go, well, I need to get to this better place, this right place, what you're really saying is Jesus' death on the cross wasn't enough for me. And it is enough for us. So wherever you're at, you can make that decision and come to Jesus Christ. Now the exciting thing is, and I said about salvation not just being for heaven, but for being for life, is that God's not going to leave you there. As you come and accept Jesus Christ, he's going to begin to work in you, and that work is going to look different in every person.
Yeah. Yeah, I think just the fact that you even feel that on your heart, like to think that you're not worthy, but to understand that there's something more.
Yeah.
There's something bigger than you, and there's something else that's missing in your life besides whatever it is that you're trying to fill that with. Just the fact that you understand that is probably a good enough reason to go ahead and pursue that.
Yeah.
Not that you're not worthy, it's the fact that, okay, you understand there is something, and that enough is enough to get you to push that way.
And it's funny, we understand that concept in so many other areas of our lives. We don't go into weight loss and say, well, I'll start losing weight once I've lost this much weight.
Right.
We go, no, I'm getting into weight loss because I need to lose weight, or I need to get my finances together. And we don't say, well, I'll start looking into how to get your finances together after I've gotten everything taken care of. And you're like, no, you start here because, well, it's the same thing with salvation. Why do we get that in all these other areas of our lives and we don't get that with Jesus Christ? Is because we battle with the self.
Yeah.
And we don't want to try to save we want to try to save ourselves instead of recognizing that someone's already done it and we just need to accept it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And
Yeah.
everybody knows Norman Rockwell was a quarterback for the Miami
Yes,
Dolphins.
yeah, back in '72 when they won the Miami Dolphins, only team to ever go through a complete year of winning every game and winning the Super Bowl, just 1972.
Right, yes.
Yeah, I just
you
want
can hang your head on that.
We do. That's all we have to hold on to now.
Oh, God. Well, so we will be doing this every other Wednesday now. Got a little off schedule after the first one, but it will be every other Wednesday. So the next one will be on the 11th. I believe that will be the 11th.
All right, yeah.
So at 8:15, look forward to seeing everybody then. And we will definitely make sure you do if you have any questions or you feel that tug on your heart or anything that we've discussed, make sure you message us or get a hold of us. I will post I'll put our website in the link for the church, the email address for the church. And it's on our Facebook page. It's actually on there anyway.
Yeah.
You can click and go there. So, all right. You
And well, I just also want to toss out David Ralston's new book that's going to be coming out, How to Be a Hipster Pastor. By
Oh,
David
yes.
Ralston. Yeah. So it's going to be published soon. So we're excited to see that. I think it's like 3 or 4 pages. So it's a very easy read.
Well, I remember when he was here. I remember he was really young and he was probably a hipster. But I bet he's getting up there. Where
you
he's
think
not
so?
as hip as he was.
I don't know. I don't know. You know, I was cool, but they changed what cool was. So.
All right. Well, I will let you close this.
All right, well, you guys join us in word of prayer. Heavenly Father, we just thank you for this time together. I thank you for Mike as he is putting this together for us. I thank you for the many pastors that are out there serving in their churches. And I pray for those who are struggling to find a church, that they will know that they are welcomed in and that they will find people just like themselves trying to grow closer to God. Please let us all realize that we don't need to earn our salvation. You've already done it. We just need to accept it. In your precious name we pray. Amen.
Have an amazing week.
All right. See you
See
guys.